Alright, we're here with Terra, Magical Adept. 3 mana 4/2. When it enters, mill 5, put an enchantment milled this way to your hand. And then for 6, much like Clive, you flip this into a Saga. That is also a 6/6 flying creature. And when it flips, you create tokens of non-legendary enchantments. So you can't target itself. They get haste if it's like another enchantment creature or something that would matter. And if it's a saga, you can sort of decide where you are in the lore chapter thing, because you can put up to 3 lore counters on it. And then you get Progenitus mana, and it flips back. Progenitus mana is kind of whatever. I had Zakama in here for a second, but I needed room for more enchantments, and I just had to accept that Zakama wasn't going to make it. But man, do I want to play it. I'm also not running Mana Drain or Reanimate, because who knows, deck weight could matter, and also just make room for enchantment based stuff instead of the cards that sort of end the game immediately and then I don't really get to play anyways, so I'm not running those. That is to say, I'm still playing Dark Ritual. There's not many black cards in here, but Dark Ritual doesn't care. This is basically Channel which is banned, but it's not basically Channel, but you know, it's kind of the same idea. I would play Channel in this deck, is kind of what I'm getting at there. The lands and the deck as a whole, red is on the back foot. This is not anything new or novel when it comes to 5-color commanders. This is 5-color, by the way, because of the mana identity of the floating mana it just suddenly generates. If it wasn't for that, it would just be a red-green deck. So it's as deep as it could possibly get to let you add other colors in your deck without the card itself caring that you did that. You know, it's just kind of funny to me. Like the mana you add way later that 90% of games you just won't see. But, I mean, this is 1v1. Maybe normal EDH, you're going to flip this sometimes. But here, you know, it's a 6-mana thing. We'll see. It probably flips way more consistently than Clive, because it has more than just red. So, yeah. These two cards, as far as I'm to understand, are a 1-card combo with your commander. You just make a non-legendary token of the flipped side, and then you target that over and over, and you make infinite 6/6 flying hastes. Now, you would think you get stuck, or at least I thought you were getting stuck, infinitely targeting it if it's the only enchantment in play, but as far as I'm to understand, you can add up to 3 lore counters. It starts with 1, so you go straight to 4 on the last one, and then swing with 249, because 250 is the token limit. 249 6/6 flyers. Most people probably would concede even if it did go infinite and you got stuck into a force draw, because it kept targeting itself and couldn't stop and was stuck on like 1 lore counter. But it does not, so I'm pretty sure this works. And because of that, these are very scary. Flipping this has ideas. I'm not running Grim Tutor. I might wind up running Grim Tutor, trying to avoid as many double colored pip cards as I could. That is to say, I'm still running a fair amount of double black here, but shouldn't be too big of a deal. If Grim Tutor, if this feels like it would matter a lot, then I'm going to run more tutors, right? Reanimate is also viable because of this mills, and if you reanimate one of these because you milled it, you know, there you go. That's great. But still, just not looking to play Reanimate right now. Leyline Binding is kind of neat. 5-color deck and all that. The first basic mountain could just be some kind of Triome or Dual Land or whatever, but I'm willing to entertain the first one. Actually, I could drop these Snowlands, because initially I refused to play basic Snowlands just for Into the North, but reality sank in that I should probably just do it. So here we are with Snowlands. So I don't know if these 2 Snowlands are right, but I spent so much time on the lands that I don't feel like continuing to do that right now. So for right now, they're going to stay. But they could be Triumphs or whatever. But yeah, the red is on the back foot. It is pretty easy to get the first red source, I would argue, especially with infinite fetch lands and Cavern of Souls and all that jazz. So I'm not really too concerned about that, but we'll see. The enchantment count is a little on the lighter side. It's only 26, right? You mill 5. You're on average going to see, I think, at more than one. I don't know, I play Magic cards, I don't do math. But we have a chance to hit something every time. And even if we don't, I don't really care, honestly. More interested in genuinely just flipping this into scary nonsense. And it doesn't need help with card selection. It is nice that it's there, though. And I'm sure it will come up. So, yep, let's see what happens. Jeez. I don't know. I think it needs another land, yeah. It's not quite there. Huh. Okay. Well, eventually we'll copy a Saga. Don't worry. It'll happen. I promise. I promise our commander will actually do something. In Hell Q. Blue and white. Well, I'd rather you not call random people that, but I guess we can all say those words. How dare people play the game the way you don't like? They're not playing the free lands for some reason. I'm not going to bounce the Chrome box. There's no need for all that language, my guy. Calm down. It's just a card game. I kind of hope they play the Glorybringer, because this is like the only opportunity where it could do something, but they know about the Splendor. Alright, they found it worth it. Kind of agree. But we'll see. Mono Red cannot stop Splendor, but I'm sure there's ways they can maybe circumvent it. Oh, I suppose that also flips. Yeah, they're probably... Well, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be extremely difficult, but hey, it's possible. My opponent did not concede, so something's up. This deals, what, triple damage? The 1/1 still hit me for 3? Although I mean, this can just blow it up, yeah. Okay, well now it's probably completely lights out. I drew that thing. I don't think I've ever actually swung with this card before. Huh. Forgot it even did something. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep forcing the issue until my opponent just gives up. I'm not even going to kill Count on luck. I just don't care. Kind of feels bad to draw both. Okay, feels less bad. Feels less bad. This is just... Okay, I can't take care of that. Oh, yeah, there it is. Just in time. Yep, just in time. Phyrexian Scriptures is probably fine. Yeah, this is fine. It makes the portal kind of bad, but the portal isn't really doing it. It's not reanimating anything that, like, matters. I don't even know if they should reanimate this, because if I bounce this, they're kind of, like, screwed. Probably shouldn't give me that option. Enters, deals 4, removed from creatures. Okay. Let's put this back here. This is not an artifact, right? Yeah, it's not an artifact. They just played that into the scriptures. That's a little interesting. I'm not sure why. Didn't have to do that. Sphere of Safety. Alright, well, if they were trying to hit us, that is probably now out of the question. But there is an endless degree of 1/1s. I have to find a way to kill my opponent. I'm not swinging at them with the 4/2. Clive is just a 6-mana 1/1. There's no reason to counter it or anything. Oh, they can flip the Iron Crag. They do flip the Iron Crag. Okay, never mind. They have stats now. I would be so impressed if they got through this Splendor and won this game. It's possible. Alright, I guess it's not. I guess it's not in the long run. So, they have to pay 3 per creature. Terra's going to flip and not really do much. But it is... okay, to be fair, it's a 6/6 flyer, right? We do actually have that going for us. Put it in. What does the game give me? Well, I can't really keep that, though. This is keepable. Did not expect that to resolve. Okay, that was huge. I can name White. Monument, okay. Blue, red. No, blue-green. Just turn these into lands. This into lands. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, some good scenarios here. Another Grixis opponent that could severely struggle against my stuff. Or they have Mana Drain and nothing I do matters. One of the two. Okay. Cyclonic Rift and River's Rebuke. We haven't actually seen either of those yet. We have seen a Feed the Swarm. Lucky me. Yeah, we're never getting to the combo, that's true. It's just never happening. Like, all the fancy enchantment saga stuff is fun, but no one's letting me flip this, right? Even with it on turn 2. Well, that doesn't help me flip it, obviously, it costs 6. But no one's letting me have the time to do that. So I can tap that. No, I have to do it like this. Green. Do this on white. Do that. Do this. Get the mountain. Boop. A second commander trigger is kind of interesting, but not... It's not shoring up the issues we've been having. Like, oh yeah, when we have this in play and it's flipped and things are happening, it's great. But we're obviously not. We're obviously just not getting there. Everyone is just killing it. Wait. Oh no, they did not do that backwards. That was the only way they could do it. Well, I would argue it makes a ton of sense to kill that, so I should do that. Name human. On the bright side, it's almost like never countered, but I think I should actually just cast Omen Path Journey, actually. I think I should cast that, actually, yeah. We have enchantments and stuff, and it would be nice to have Terra be able to... well, it can. Fine. Okay, we got Splendor. I don't think I want Overlord right now. Or, like, I don't know. Plains. I mean, technically I had Starfield, so... could have just grabbed the Overlord. Could have grabbed the Overlord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I can top deck a win. We did top deck a win. Most likely. It's a mono green deck. It could just kind of laugh at my stuff. But we'll see. It is up to my opponent to do it. Okay, yeah, they didn't do anything. I didn't do it. Well, okay. Can't always have it. Do I get another forest? Is it... I thought the copy was a legendary. We've been all over the place with this card today. I don't know what's going on with it. Boop. It's like a reflection in addition to its other tomato soup. Well, if that's the case, it works. I think we play this. It is a must-answer threat. Maybe I... No, we can play two things, so we should probably do that. Let's get Breeding Pool. Actually, you should get the overthrow. Yeah. Kind of similar. We've been so back and forth with it. If it works, it works. I don't know if we need the third one, but it could probably replace one of the two we have. Yeah, it could probably pretty easily replace one of the two we have. Okay, this is my only card here. And it's not looking great. Oh, we whiffed again? Bruh. That's... I was having better luck with it when I had less enchantments in my deck. And there it goes, dying before I get to flip it. Alright. Can't stay in the graveyard. Cannot stay in the graveyard. Oh. God. Now I have to respect Wash Away, I guess. Yep. Yeah, we could replace it with duplication. Okay, Starfield, you're up, buddy. Well, I expect my deck to work. I expect the outcome I expect. I've been over this 12 times. You should hit more than one out per average. And again, it's actually more dense than it was, so it's actually better than that now. But sometimes you still whiff. Not that it would matter, because my opponent keeps killing it. So I suppose it doesn't matter anyways. So they haven't played a counterspell yet, which means they probably have a counterspell. It's only getting worse. Okay, I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing that just happened. Hard to tell. Okay, no counterspell. Okay, I can play my card. That's pretty cool. We like playing cards here. Let's get a forest. Wait, how did the... what happened to the Overlord? I don't remember. Oh, couldn't remember. Okay, maybe it sits around forever. Let's get rid of Sphere. Doesn't seem super efficient. Let's get Overlord. And try to kill my opponent's commander, shall we? Alright, do they leave it under there? Okay, I didn't think so. No reason to cast my commander. I think leaving up Get Lost is just better. Yeah. What is this card? Memory Deluge. Okay. Yeah, it is better because of that. That's true. But, I mean, again, it's not like we're flipping our commander, you know? We're talking about a scenario that doesn't exist. We're talking about, like, we're hung up on a combo that we're not getting to. And I'm not about to play 55 protection spells. That doesn't seem like the right avenue to success. I'm gonna let this... okay, I was about to say, unless they deal with this card, it's probably gonna win the game. Because they suffer dealing with enchantments. And they had already cast... this is actually nuts. And 1 in 3... cards in my deck are enchantments. I don't know why I'm struggling to convey that I've been getting unlucky with this card, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. I've not played against Acererak in quite a while. quite a while. No, you can Fatal Push it. You can, by all means. Oh. And Winter Moon. Excellent. Fortunately, I have basics. And I will cast those basics. Okay. Do I cast my commander? Probably. Wait, yeah. Get a forest. Hmm? Well, that helps a little, but I don't really need to blow this up. I suppose it might as well. And there's a 1-mana spell we know about. It's probably Fatal Push. It can't be cut down. Well, it can be, but it won't work. Okay, it could also have been that the whole game. Okay. So... yeah, we'll blow up the Winter Moon. I think this unlocks more for me than it... yeah, we just probably like to see that here. Hive of the Mind Tyrant is... or Eye Tyrant is nuts. What is that doing? Defiler. Okay, I will Swords that. That's a combo piece. Play this. Yup. Well, that's not great. I can get rid of you. Play you. Let's say this is pseudo must answer threat. So it's like Paradox Engine or bust, kinda. They chose to kill that instead of play a land. Oh, that makes sense, actually. Yeah, I think you have to do that, honestly. They did do it at an awkward time, though, because now I just have it again. They could have killed it on... yeah, they could have killed it in response to the trigger there. I just chose not to. That is not a combo piece, it's just mana. Ophiamancer doesn't help out too much here. Can't say I'm terribly concerned with it existing. We don't need the Mana Dork? Actually, we don't need the Sweeper. But if that's the logic, I'll just take care of a creature. Because you never know. That could matter. Not super likely, but it can matter. Let's just do that. Sure. Doesn't really get us anywhere. I can pay all the life I want. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Massacre Worm. Alright, excellent. Best to maybe not take all that damage. One would argue. And again, my commander died. Now, can you keep that? What are you reanimating? Just Massacre Worm? Yeah, alright. So be it. It doesn't kill this thing, right? Oh, yes it does. Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, that's just fine. Both sides are just fine. Alright, I got the Hex, or the Shroud, so now it's no longer fine. Probably should have swung first. There's no enchantment I want to crack this for right now. Sanctum Weaver's not looking good in the face of Virtue. Spark Double as another Overlord is very scary. That's good. I no longer want that. this. Did I play land? I did. Okay. So they're not dead in the air, but they're dead over 2 turns, and the virtue doesn't save them. And they kept them on top, so... looking good. I can also tutor for Overwhelming Splendor now, and I think I can actually cast it in the same juncture. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I can. I could also crack this to find it and cast it that way, but there's no reason to remove Shroud. That's crazy. Oh no, it's a discounter. Never mind, it's got text on it. But with Overwhelming Splendor, I don't think they can do anything. I've never really seen Acererak do other stuff before. That's kind of funny looking. It's kind of funny. It's not lethal, but I can still just trade with one of them. No, we can just do the 2-turn clock. There's nothing my opponent can do to kill me here. It's just not on the table. One, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, there's nothing that kills me. Unless there is. I don't think so. Okay. They found a way to not die, but I'm still alive. Virtue is down to the making 1/1s department. Okay, I can just simply take it. I probably actually should do this. Yeah, I don't have time for this. There's no reason to make time for it either. I'll just cast this. And remove my opponent's ability to make 1/1. I could also take the Immortal Sun, but... eh. It's kind of the same, just finding blockers is about the same as oh, shoot. Whenever you cast a creature spell, I lose a life. Alright, that's another card that just wins the game. I'm actually dead. That's insane. Do you have it? You just need it. Alright. Well, that's nuts. Yeah, alright. There it is. I should have stuck to my guns and not swung with both of the creatures. I didn't want to. Said, screw it, I'll go low. I really just shouldn't have. Yeah, that cost me the game. Alright, GG. Wow, an Atali player. Wow. I haven't seen Atali in like over a month. I think longer than that. It's been a while since I've seen Atali. Interesting. I can't imagine anything's new, but it's just kind of funny. Someone out here still enjoying their Atali games. It is the most ignores you commander. It's like not even close. Oh, if I had black mana. Tragic. I probably would play this instead of this if I had black mana. Probably. Pretty close though, they're pretty close. I will blow that up. Correct. This is one of those Herp Derp 2 into 4 decks, so... You'd prefer to see Atali never? What do you mean? What do you mean? You don't like how they have Atali turn 4 every game? You don't enjoy that? I think it's great. This discounts the... I'm missing planes? Just thinking of how to discount this. Yeah, let's get planes here. I think I'm missing another one too, but I don't feel like thinking. Let's get rid of that so we don't lose the game. Okay, well, eventually we'll get to cast this without Atali just casting itself. Hey, look at that! See? You don't even get to play your own strategy. All you have to do is stop Atali from ramping and then you win. They even mulliganed accordingly. That is really funny. Atali has been a little bit less scary lately because of like kind of the new commanders and kind of just the new atmosphere of the layout of the format. This has, in my opinion, been a bit less scary, which probably explains why I haven't seen it that much. You also steal weaker and weaker things. The power level goes up, but the cards you steal are random, and the power level of the hyper-efficient 1, 2, and 3 mana cards, you don't really capitalize on those cards when you just steal them, especially when your opponent has a ton of like mana drain. This doesn't do anything. Dark Ritual doesn't really do anything for Atali. Like all the really scary cards sort of struggle with Atali, and yeah, this is one of those commanders that doesn't necessarily get stronger from your opponent's because of your opponent's decks and whatnot. But I'm sure there'll be a day with like an Ancient Tomb is coming out, and this will probably be back on the menu, like Gemstone Caverns and Ancient Tomb, and who cares about anything when you cast your 7-drop turn 3 every game? But we'll see. You don't like games that revolve around killed, countered, ramp, and then they left? Well, I mean, that's the entirety of the format. The best thing to do is play more than one land a turn. So, it's the entirety of the format. At least there's cards that played back and forth, as opposed to, like, it just ended because they had Dark Ritual in turn 1. At least you get to interact with your opponent. You interact it with their game plan. Their game plan doesn't interact with you, but, you know. I think there's something there. I don't really hate playing against it. I think it gets old, you know, 4 or 5 turns, or 4 and 5 Atali games in a row. I'd say it does get old, but we haven't seen that in a while. Oh, I need water. Vassar. On the draw against a green deck with no 1 or 2 is basically a game not being played. Okay, this is functional. Timeless Brawl's not a joke anymore? Yeah. I think it wasn't a joke the moment you said it the first time. It's kind of like a reality spatula smacking you in the face. This is timeless. That's interesting on turn 2. I shall play this. We shall get the Grixis one to shore up our weaknesses. Far-seeking Xandra's Lounge feels illegal. I'm not even really interested in killing this, but my opponent apparently has nothing. That's unbelievable. If they're going to do nothing, I'm also going to do nothing. I don't really care about the Necrobloom. If I do, or will care at some point, so be it. They didn't make a free 1/1 there. Bit of a misstep there. Oh, they're just not cracking it. Okay, so there's a different idea. It's a different idea. Tireless Provisioner? No, you would still crack it if it was Tireless Provisioner. Okay, Lotus Cobra. Kind of like the only card that would make you want to keep this, I feel. Because it costs 2. Provisioner, it doesn't matter, so yeah. But they did not miss sequence. Unless it didn't matter. Oh, okay. Silly me. Yeah. Why crack your fetch land when you can just play a 5-drop? Why crack your fetch land when you can play a 5-drop anyways? Okay, well I can loop the binding over and over. That is very slow. Oh, they got a tap land, so it's just Necrobloom. Okay. So they could have done this anyways, just the way they sequenced it lets them put Lotus Cover in play first. Because that is a good idea. Not the worst draw, but definitely not great. Let's see, what's in the graveyard? Nothing. This isn't doing anything. Do I have double blue? Currently do not. So, Commander Llanowar Elves? And then... Right? There's no leaving up my card, you know. Unfortunately, this is one of the better cards in my hand, but if I want to play my commander and have it matter, I suppose I should do something like this. This is upkeep, right? Yeah. Who knows? Maybe they don't just explode and win the game. It's only a measly little Lotus Cobra. Surely it doesn't just break the game in half. Oh. Okay, sure. They moused over my land as if they could blow it up. That's funny. No, you did not kick that. Oh look, our commander died. Wow. It has died every single game for the past at least 8 games. I don't know beyond that. I'm gonna put it to the command zone. Okay, well they're light on cards. They're light on cards here. I would really like to play Starfield, but this is very nice. What if I did both? Wait, can I? Technically I can, and I'm not dead on board. Technically I can. So I should. Strip Mine? Oh, we're getting Strip Mine too? Nice. I think Strip Mine kind of puts the green decks back into a little bit of reality check there. Who knows? I would be a bit blown away if my opponent had Graveyard Hate on top of everything here. But we've taken the line that we've taken, and I don't regret it. I'm going to kill their commander because I'd like them to potentially recast it. That can stop Nissa, but I think I'm probably better off trying to stop something scarier. Do I have 3 blue? I do. Okay. They can't kill this without me getting it back. I can get rid of Apprentice Volley. Okay, I get this back with the next Starfields, and I am not dead on board, so... However, I might be interested in... Oh, wow, reanimate? No, we can't reanimate. We'll just die. It's not on the table. So cast this, just to stem some of the damage, and then pass. This also stops the Lotus cover from attacking, so... This could be important. Azusa Strip Mine, yep. And then one of the reanimate things. There's also Lair of the Hydra. It's at its best right now. Doesn't have trample, though. Unless it does it? No, it doesn't. Do I have to block it? Looks like I do. If I block that, I take 9. No, I must... I must block this. Probably no fetch land. Actually, this is less life. This is 1 life. Okay. I can get Overwhelming Splendor, but I can't cast it, right? I have 7 mana. I'm 1 off again from casting it. But I can get... We can get the spice. We can get the sauce here. We can get Sphere of Safety. We actually have enchantments for the first time in 3 hours. Oh my goodness. We did it. We actually have enchantment. Now, I would much prefer this to not be a creature, but we can't get what we want all the time. I would much prefer this to not be a creature. This is not worth reacting to, because the zombies struggle with Sphere of Safety. It's not worth it. Protecting my sphere safety is what's important. And I'm not stopping this permanently anyways. But yeah, the zombies struggle to swing with so many enchantments. No cards in hand, I don't have to react to that. I could put it on top and it would be their draw for the turn. But I can probably do better. I don't know if cracking this is right. Knowing me, it would probably kill me, so I'm not going to. Take action, let's kill... Provisioner gains life, so I guess I'll kill that. It gains life and can generate mana that they can bring into combat, because the Lotus cover doesn't let them do that. We also just drew Overwhelming Splendor, which doesn't actually change that much, funny enough, but I guess I'll cast it. And we're gonna hide like cowards. I'm not gonna swing. I don't think I have to swing. I think I'm just winning. Creature enters mill 3, put a land short. Doesn't have any text on it. Yeah, alright. So I think the only thing that could happen is some magical, out of nowhere lethal, so it would be probably a good idea to not swing. Okay. Wait, let me read that again. Okay. Okay, so... Pass? Not sure I've ever seen this. Oh, it can exile? Oh, well, yep, we ruined everything then. Thought it was a destroy. Let's take you. But still, though. Still. Still. We're still losing. Right? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's not a bad line, but still. I'm still just losing that game. But you're right, I did not give myself the outs. There were outs to be had, and I suppose I didn't get them. They're very linear outs, and they're not, like, super exciting, but... if they were there, we didn't go for them. I'm gonna get a basic here so I don't die. So... you... I can tutor up Supreme Verdict. This doesn't have haste, does it? No. They milled Yargle, so it's at 18. But it doesn't have haste. So we'll see what they do. If Witness Protection doesn't work, I guess I am screwed. Oh, we milled Supreme Verdict. Okay, there goes that out. Not that it was technically an out anyways, but... this has to happen. I will play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can't Splendor and cast it, but what we can do is get this in play and look for the card. Oh, wait a minute. Yep. Yeah, we can still play this. Let's see what we've got over there. Okay, they have Buried Alive and Virtue, both things I'd rather not see. Although the Virtue, I think, is a bit slow. Do they have 7 mana? No, they don't. They have 6 mana. They have to draw a mana source. If they do draw a mana source... Of course they draw a mana source. Of course they draw a mana source. Alright. I could have gone for the reanimate side instantly, but... I mean... Silly me, I guess. I think it's still just... Sphere of Safety. Could take Starfield, but... Is there any haste in the graveyard? There's a Shieldred, but that doesn't matter. Yeah, we could just take Starfield. If our opponent keeps milling us, I feel like this has a lot of value. Assuming I'm not dead by the time I would get to it. But with my opponent's Mesmeric Orb, I kind of like this. And there's nothing to reanimate out of my graveyard that ends the game. Overlord is nice, but I think you're always getting Shieldred for obvious reasons. They don't want to bury live this turn. They want to wait. Unless they just get rid of poop. And just put poop in the graveyard, which is fine. Mana Dorks or something. Opponent gets rid of not creatures. They don't cast... They don't cast Buried Alive? Okay. We're gonna blow up Shieldred, I think. We lose our commander, but we can recast it. Yeah, we probably just have to do this. How come the untap happens after the upkeep? Why does that happen? Shouldn't I untap and then all of this happens before I target something with upkeep? Thought that's how that worked. I guess not. I drew Reanimate. That's hilarious. I can take Shieldred of my own. I think that's probably a really good idea. And I can Spark double Shieldred, which is hilarious. Can't say I've had that happen. And then I can get Lumra and have infinite mana. Okay. I'm almost decking myself out completely here. It's close. The Mesmeric Orb does actually mill me for like 20 or something. So I have maybe like 2 turns to kill them. And I'm only showing, do I have a way to get Trample or Flying? Yeah, I have the mana for whatever I want now, I guess. But this doesn't have haste. This is a funny game. You may discard a card, return target creature or land. There's nothing really to do with that here. Yeah, I don't think I can do it because I don't have 3 turns. If I had 3 turns, I think we're fine. But I can't do it in 2 because above all the other issues this commander's had, it can't just instantly flip. It just doesn't have haste. Yeah, so the orb should have untapped my lands and triggered before I target it with Shieldred. Or, excuse me, the Starfield. So I'm not sure why it did that. Does Mesmeric Orb triggers, do they happen in the upkeep? or do they stay in the untap step? If it stays in the untap step, it makes sense to me. Or, excuse me, doesn't make sense to me, but if the triggers move into your upkeep, then all is well. I would imagine it works the way it's supposed to. It'd be kind of weird if it didn't. It's the only card that would do that in the game, so I'm sure they're aware of it. I just haven't had it happen yet. Okay, fortunately that doesn't matter. I wonder if drawing a card for me was right. That did not have trample. I wonder if that was right. What gives me the most outs? Drawing more cards? Reanimating this? Sure. Reanimate that. Reanimate that. They are moved? Okay. Yeah. Then it makes sense to me. How do I kill the orb? Don't tell me I'm missing out to kill the orb. What do you mean kill the orb? Oh, you're right. Could have just... Wait. We're still in it. We have an end step reanimate. We're still in it. Okay. We didn't actually throw. Take action. It's not a legendary. Whatever I target, I suppose I'll target Yuna? Okay, maybe we didn't actually throw. Hold on. Can I... Wait, can I just target this? Wait. I can't target again. Okay. Target you? Okay, hold on. We're unthrowing. We're unthrowing. I'm gonna blow this up right now, so there are no mistakes. Discard you. Grab. Summon Spaghetti Monster. Cast Spaghetti Monster. Blow up this. Swing. Shieldred has Swamp Walk. This dies... When do these die? Now, right? Hold on. Yeah, so we should send them. It's all just lifelink. They have good blocks. I didn't even have to swing with the Shieldreds, honestly. Could have ossified first, but again, I'm more fixated. I think this game is over no matter what I do at this point, so I'm just going to play like the weirdest lines and not really care, because there's not many major mistakes, potentially. I am going to deal with their commander, because I just don't want them to have a turn with it. And probably safe to cast this. Probably safe to cast it. It's only milling, what, 5? Yeah, it's probably safe. This game is less than 10 turns from ending anyways. Okay, actually hit an enchantment, that's funny. Not the most exciting one, but who cares. And then end step, Yuna, exile, Overlord, or blow it up with... Oh wait, I can Overwhelming Splendor. This is probably the best. Probably the best thing to do here, yeah. Because it kills their creatures anyways, because they go down to 1/1 with damage on it. Alright, so the post-combat removal was actually a good idea, given what I just did. Alright. We almost missed that out. It would have been really sad. I kind of just got so hung up that I couldn't... Okay, is that fine? Well, there's nothing I can do about it, but I don't think that solves my opponent's issue. Put you here. I can't recast my commander. I'm not even going to touch my fetch lands. Probably can't cast Overlord, so we'll do this. Or the blue Overlord. There's nothing to blow up with Bahamut, so I'll just do this one. Well, hey, it's damage. Yeah, I can't cast my commander. It mills 5. It's just not a thing I can do. Old spadoodle, sure. Some 1/1s, yep. So they can put, what, 3 1/1s in play? They do not do that. Let's put you into play now because there are targets. Draw nothing. That should be fine. Dang it. Stop. Ah! Stop. Stop it. Opponent has drawn the things that keep them in the game, but not things that keep the game going long term. There's just nothing, without creatures, I mean, I don't know if there's anything they can do. Yeah, there's no buried alive here. That matters. Nice. What a crazy game. What a crazy game. I'm glad I blew up the Mesmeric Orb. I swear I almost didn't see that. Which is kind of embarrassing, but you know what? It's been long. It's been a long game. You know, get wrecked. Get wrecked. Good game, though. Cool deck from the opponent. Cool deck. I like it. Mesmeric Orb. This might have been the first time ever it's milled us out without them being like some kind of quote-unquote mill strategy, right? You know, like milling me on purpose or whatever. So that's kind of funny. However, because they milled me so much and it didn't win. See, this is what I say every time someone tries to mill me 5 cards a turn or something. None of the milling matters until the last card you mill. So if you mill your opponent for 70, which we actually got milled for, I'd say probably about 70. Maybe more than that. I don't know how many lands Lumra, excuse me, Lumra put into play for us. But, let's say it milled 70 cards. Because they didn't mill all of my cards, I have access to my graveyard. They didn't have, like, graveyard hate on top of the mill. And you gave me Starfield Central because you didn't completely mill me out. But again, my opponent's not trying to mill me out, but the incidental mill against most commanders is valuable. Really? I mean, my opponent wants to have themselves get milled, and, you know, you might as well play it if you like it, but most decks will utilize their graveyard if you give them access to it. Interesting session with this commander. Very interesting. So, the enchantment count for the amount of times it whiffed felt kind of bad, right? I mean, it's a third of the deck. A third of the deck are enchantments. There was just like 4 or 5 casts in a row it just whiffed, and that felt terrible. It wasn't whiffing when we were at like 20 enchantments, but when I went up to 30, I just, for some reason, wasn't hitting anything. I ended up adding Reanimate, because we started adding like overlords and stuff. For maybe the milling of the 5 is important enough. You genuinely could have ran Uro, but this is the problem. It starts to turn into 5-color good stuff pile, and I'm not making room for like the Saga enchantment stuff. There's a huge issue with this commander, and it seems that it's weighted pretty heavily, or maybe it's just the cards in your deck or something. The first half of the play session was nothing but the sweatiest of decks, and then later on I started to see kind of things I've never seen before, ever. Like, ever. There was 2 or 3 commanders today I'd never seen them in my life. Which is kind of cool. It was really cool, actually. And I didn't just beat all of them. It was like a game was being played. So those things exist out there. One could make the argument you just concede if you see abysmal things in your opponent's command zone. And unfortunately, I kind of think this commander is in that scenario. We have combos, right? This didn't start in the deck. I was confused. Actually, we were confused back and forth 3 times whether this combos. It does with your commander. And it's an enchantment, so that would have been better than the spell we cast. But we never comboed. Not a single game. There was one opportunity to combo, but I respected the unknowns of my opponent's hand, and Sterling Grove with Shroud actually jacked it up. I missequenced with this because it had Shroud and I messed up. But other than that, never did I feel like this was ever going to happen. And this died all the time. My opponents actually killed this even when there was not much of a reason to, because I wasn't untapping and threatening 6 mana to flip it. And even still, there's times where if you do flip it, you don't really have any enchantment or saga or anything that you're interested in copying. So, now that is to be said, you don't really know what else could happen. Like, it just cast something crazy and then like, oh shoot, I really wish I killed this. And so, it still makes sense to kill it, but I feel like people were more scared of this than they should be, and from what it appears, the sweatiest versions of this sort of just do the mill 5, get value, and then maybe have like a really scary saga or some enchantment or something, but for the most part it's like just card selection with this other thing on the bottom of it. And it's just 5-color good stuff piles, and that does weigh this commander, or it will if it isn't weighed already, which again, I'm not really sure it is, because it's Final Fantasy until the next set. That's my approximation. Jeez. I could do it, I swear. So, with that being said, can't really rely on the backside of this, really at all to me. Every deck is prepared to interact with the 4-2, and I'm pretty sure the other side just dies anyways. Yeah, it doesn't suddenly have Shroud or Hexproof or even Ward. It can just die as a 6/6. So definitely one of those vulnerable things that isn't as scary to untap with as VV. Like, if you play VV and you have your Mox, like you always do, and your opponent can't kill it and you untap with it, it's like, oh, well, they're screwed. But with this card, if you had like Mox and some protection spell to keep it alive, you don't then suddenly have, the best thing going for you, like you would with, say, VV or whatever. I was just always interested in casting stuff, and it seemed to me like it makes sense to have this as a 3-mana... what's the name of that spell? There's a spell that does what this does. Top 5 cards? This thing? You just have like almost exactly this thing, except this can see creatures, which is, I guess, arguably better. It's like a commune with the gods in your command zone, with sometimes a better upside of flipping it and doing something very scary. And you should have those outs in your deck. Don't just have, like, nothing to do with this card flipping. I think, some amount of sagas, or at least the best of the best, are okay. Going for the combo, to me, is just completely unrealistic, unless you're probably shaving maybe 1 or 2 colors. Okay, so we could shave a color and make room for, like, nonsense, like mana drain and whatnot, and go more into the 5-color good stuff pile, because that's just, let's be real, the best thing you can do with a commander like this. The alternative, maybe, is go in the Scythus direction, and you're green-white Enchantress, and you're just doing that kind of thing, splashing the other 3 colors. However, you start to fall into that realm of, well, why are you not just playing Scythus? Why are you not just playing the first sliver? So, it's in a weird spot for me, but there are at least, basically, an infinite ways to assemble it. Infinite things you could do, assuming some of those cards are sagas that actually care about this. I mean, you need some amount of enchantments, so you have a little bit of a delineation from being the first sliver, but it really doesn't actually have to be by that much. It really doesn't. I will say the sweepers kind of didn't do that much, which doesn't surprise me. I've been saying sweepers are kind of taking the back foot more and more as this format gets closer and closer to legacy and, dare I say, vintage. So, removing one or two very scary things is just better than sweeping the board of like some random stuff that they could have. I mean, you can still 2 for 1 or 3 for 1 and be in a huge advantage. There's some opponents that will just crumble to a sweeper, but still, I think I just shaved it down to just Supreme Verdict and what's the other one? Oh, I took it out. The saga that sweeps the board repeatedly was not working. What is it? Phyrexian Scriptures. It's like, this was just not really working. It is double black. Playing it the turn after you cast your commander can be very difficult because you need red and green, and now you need double black. It could kind of be hard to do that. And that would be the most ideal this card would be, is immediately the next turn. Protecting your commander from blowing everything up. And then moving on from there, but I guess either Calyx, again, leading into any of the green-white enchantment things are fine. You'll drown in cards. You'll probably have plenty of mana because you're green. And all that jazz. Citizen, Champion, Scythus, whatever that other one is. When you cast enchantment, draw a card. I just didn't want to play those cards. I just didn't want to do that. But, one of the best... Do I actually have it? Let's see if I can find it. I might not have it anymore. It doesn't look like I do. No, I do not. Alright, so maybe this is just an example. Like this. This is probably better than what I was doing. And you could play this with that commander here. The one we were just playing, whose name I can't remember. And you could run the combo sprinkled in here and just play green-white Enchantress and probably be better. You could even splash the completely degenerate things, like you could sprinkle in Dark Ritual, Mana Drain, and all that jazz. It is unfortunate that this deck is like that. It is unfortunate, but that kind of seems the idea here. It's nice, and probably had to be every color, so you had a reasonable degree of sagas that this can actually play with, because if you're stuck to red and green, your saga payoffs are kind of not really that great. You can't play all the really good stuff if you're stuck in green and white. You can only play like a couple red ones and then a few greens, and then that's it. There are some enchantments that are interesting to copy with like decent ETBs, and then you sack them after. But you can't do like an O-ring because they just get the card right back. I was thinking about treacherous lasagna. This thing, treacherous blessing. Could play this, but I can't get rid of the first one. So I'm just going to have to deal with that for a while, if not the entirety of the remainder of the game. But it is nice to copy this with your commander and just continuously draw 3, right? That is kind of cool. One could argue you just play one of the enchantment cards that draw, like enchantment enters draw. Like you could just play this. We could have probably played Up the Beanstalk. Could have played the other one that cast Eidolon is another one. Like, these are fine here. But again, you're not really letting your command... This is dying all the time. It's died countless times. It died so much that I don't believe the flip side is something to consider. And the enchantment matters thing is kind of just awkward. There are so many avenues to go with this commander that it's hard to talk about like just one thing, and I guess I'll do the best at describing what I was trying to do, which is ramp into reasonably scary enchantments that are impactful, and then potentially have this copy some of them as like a plus. But there were quite a few games I would really wish I was just Yuna instead, or I was Scythus. Well, I mean, that's just bracket 5 against like Keenan all day and stuff, but yeah, so it's kind of weird. It's definitely a weird commander, but that makes it cool, right? I mean, I can look at 5 different lists that have like, I don't know, a total of 600 unique cards across them or something crazy like that. I mean, not that crazy, but you know what I mean. There's just a lot of options here. There's the 5-color good stuff pile. There's the green-white Enchantress. There's whatever I was doing, which is ramping into enchantments and treating this as commune with the gods, sort of as a spell with, you know, that stuff going on. There's all in on combos. You could play all of the combo cards. We ended up taking one of them out. You could play all of those in a bunch of tutors to find them, and then just go for the combo with like protection spells. And again, try to step away from the cards you see in front of you and just picture a blue-black control deck with the combo inside of it, and you're kind of playing this weird Acererak combo. Like, that exists. You can try that. So it's kind of limitless in its game plans, as long as those game plans have something to do with enchantments, right? That's kind of the only true restriction here, and that's pretty cool. That is cool. But again, it is unfortunate that this will probably be in a high bracket because it will be held hostage by the 5-color good stuff pile commanders strategy decks, and that will just take away from anyone doing it like, oh, I want to play a red-green, you know, bard class thing with this and enchantment creatures. It's like, well, unfortunately you're playing against Keenan because the other people playing this decided that 5-color good stuff pile is where it's going to be. And that is something to take note of. So if that ends up being the case, I just can't really recommend this commander at all. Honestly, I really can't, if that's the case. If it's not bracket 5, then, you know, it does some pretty cool stuff. I wouldn't even say what I was doing was busted. It definitely is not the sweatiest thing that this commander could do, right? I had to force myself to not run Mana Drain to actually do something that cares about this. And it does lead to some interesting games. The games that don't end immediately are pretty fun, right? For a commander like this. Even the games that don't win. It's like, oh yeah, the game lasted quite a while and this mattered and drew me some cards maybe. Filled my graveyard up and all that jazz and whatnot. Starfield of Nyx was basically like a difficult to interact with Shieldred that just reanimates enchantments, and that was rather threatening once it got going. It is slow, but it's not super slow, especially when this mills you. Oh, that's another thing. You can run some kind of Graveyard Matters strategy with this card. I don't like quote-unquote self-mill as the reanimate enabler part of things, right? Like, say, Slimefoot and Squee. Like, oh, I'm just milling myself with all these cards. Like, it's extremely inconsistent to get any one ideal thing when you're just milling yourself. So, to me, it makes more sense to run, like, Faithless Looting effects, Buried Alive effects, and all that jazz. And let me tell you right now, this deck could have ran Buried Alive. There are just so many things you can do here that it's no wonder that it took me over an hour to put a deck together that was, you know, anything. Because there were, you know, by the time you're done adding cards to it, you realize you're at 185 cards. You're like, shoot, what did I do? Oh no. It's hard to maybe fine tune down to a solid, like, it's just, you could just replace any of these cards and swap it out for something similar, or an enabler, or removal, counters, giant creatures. You could literally put a Tali in here, like full stop. You could put a Tali in here, probably just take out Wash Away in this, and be like, boom, I have a Tali now. Like, that is, everything is on the table. A Tali maybe should have just been in here. We are kind of on the ramp side of things. I had Zakama in here. I had Zakama in here. Like, anything's possible. I mean, Zakama's a pipe dream. Don't get me wrong, but you know, any excuse to play that card, I will shove it in a deck. But all right, that's all I've got for this one. All over the place. If that's your kind of thing, I can recommend it. But again, if it gets stuck in bracket 5, just expect that to be the end life of this card, just stuck there forever. But who knows? Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. My outros have been a bit rambly, but to be honest, the past few commanders have been kind of hard to just sit down and talk about, because when there's so many different things you can do with something, it's hard to just talk about it in bite-sized form. But I'm doing my best with this one. The strongest commanders are the ones I play first, usually when it comes to new sets, right? Like, oh, this looks like it could actually be successful, let me play that one. And then you get to one of these, it's like, okay, there's a lot going on, there's a lot of weaknesses, and because of those weaknesses, you must look at it differently, right? One of the weaknesses being this dies to everything your opponents do forever, and there's not a lot of resilience to it. It's just going to die, and that you just have to take that into consideration. And to me, it's not realistic to play a bunch of protection spells and Chrome Mox and Mox Amber just to really try to keep this alive. It just doesn't seem productive, because you have to make room for those cards while also making room for enchantments that are scary, and also make room to have cards that enable your ability to actually cast all of that. So, yeah, very all over the place, but alright, that's it. GG.